Hello, it's me. I played Shadowlands for about 2 months after not playing the game for 10 years. Early cat, to be precise, is when I quit. I have since finally returned to the game, leveled up, played through Shadowlands for approximately 2 months, and now I'm here to give my in-depth, super critical, amazing thoughts on Shadowlands. And by that, I mean I'm going to be an old man rambling about how I don't like it very much. Too long don't watch. I don't like Shadowlands that much. Anyways, yeah, I decided to do a little bit of an update, so to speak, about my in-depth, critical review thoughts from IGN itself, only it's not from IGN. Just about how I feel about the game's change after all these years, because, to be specific, yeah, I haven't played any of the expansions past Cata, and to be specific with Cataclysm, I only played, like, the very launch version, and then I quit the game, basically because my guild split up in early Cata, that I was, like, really attached to, and I just didn't like all the changes that Cata went for, and, like, those two things basically made me, quit the game, and I never felt the desire to come back to retail. I did play Classic WoW for a little bit, there was that, but, you know, this is my first time playing, you know, actual, you know, WoW with blue people and whatnot, and Elysian Guardians and such. I don't even know why I was logged off in Bastion, like, but, I don't know, here I am, I guess. So, what do I think of Shadowlands? A couple people asked, so figured, hey, might as well give, like, a little update before my subscription expires and I quit the game for another 10 years. So let's just, like, fly somewhere so the scenery changes. Again, this is not going to be well edited. This is not going to be edited or anything. It's just going to be, you know, me rambling about Shadowlands and WoW in general. So, if that's not your cup of tea, then you've been warned. Otherwise, stay around for some nice, amazing old man complaining about how things aren't how they used to be and whatnot. And such. So, let's just try to go, like, in chronological order, I guess. Start with, like, the leveling. I didn't, like, record footage of me leveling, but, so, I mean, but, you know, if you played Shadowlands leveling, it's all the same. Shadowlands leveling was basically Shadowlands leveling is basically exactly what I expected it to be. It was boring and really, really easy with no challenge whatsoever, which is to be expected. That's one main problem I have with, you know, WoW in general, is the, you know, the idea that challenge is only with, like, high-end Mythic Plus dungeons and raids, but, you know, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the leveling, you know, it took, like, a couple days for me, I think. Some people did in, like, a single day. And I basically just had, like, a podcast or videos playing in the background the entire time. Because I gotta be honest, I do not... The Shadowlands story, that's another thing with the leveling. The Shadowlands story in general just did not do it for me. I mean, modern WoW story in general has, like, so many problems, I think. But, you know, you can make an entire thing on that. There's lore channels that go into that, and I don't know what the general populace's thoughts on the lore is, but I'm just, like, over it. I've been over it for a while now. So leveling aside, the main things to go over are, like, comparing, like, just how the game feels to back in the day. I'd say the most obvious change is the game feels more like an action kind of RPG than, like, an old school RPG. The one thing that I definitely think that is just an improvement straight up is class rotations. No one... Here we are about to enter the annoying wormhole, as I like to call it, even though, I mean, it's kind of cool. There's blue lights and everything, but I think one thing that the game definitely improves over is class rotations. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been a long time, so you'll have to forgive me, but in Wrath of Lich King Destruction Warlock, you basically had 4 buttons. I think it was, like, Incinerate, Conflagrate, Immolate, and Chaos Bolt. That was basically it. Now, Destruction Warlock is the simplest Warlock spec, to be fair. In Shadowlands, it definitely still is. You have, like, 6 buttons now, 7, which, you know, almost double when you think about it. And Infliction, you basically use, like, pretty much everything on my main bar here I use, along with Haunt, Soul Rot, Phantom Singularity. So the Warlock Rotation, compared to back then, and of course I'm playing Affliction now because the other 2 Warlock specs are, spoiler, not very good. They're a lot better than how they were 10 years ago. Sure, some specs are more complicated than others, it's kind of random, class balances all over the place, Warlocks are, you know... I know they buffed Destruction Warlocks and Demonology a bit, but it was basically like, you basically had to play Affliction. I haven't really played since the buff, so I don't know if that's still the case, but I'm guessing Affliction's still the best. It's definitely still the best for single target, I would assume. Because, yeah, I basically had to do the Affliction for the raids and the dungeons, which, the dungeons, for the most part, are fine. I'd say I like half of them. Mists, Halls of Atonement, Spires of Ascension, and Plaguefall, I think, are the ones I like. And then the other four, Necrotic, Theater Pain, the other side, Sanguine Depths, I don't like those at all. I don't really like those. It's funny, the other side I actually thought was really cool for the aesthetic, but I had to do it so many times. And I've basically done all the dungeons way too many times. I mean, there's only 8 of them. I think that's really small amount when you think about it. There just weren't enough dungeons, in my opinion. The raid Castle Nathria was meh. Initially, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," but I think the only reason I thought that is because it's been so long since I've raided. But when I really think about what bosses do I really like in Castle Nathria, I like Artificer Zymox, which a lot of people like Artificer Zymox from what I've seen, and Lady Nerva Darkbane. That's it. Those are the only 2 bosses I genuinely like. When I really think about it, I don't really care for Shriekwing. Huntsman Ultimate was pretty boring. Sun King Salvation's pretty meh. Hungry Destroyer is a sleep fest. Council of Blood is okay. Sledge Fist is annoying. It's just a lot of negativity with the raid when I really think about it. And the only 2 bosses I always genuinely looked forward to playing or fighting against were yeah, Artificer Zymox and Lady Nerva Darkbane. So 2 out of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Not very good. I think the whole Vampire Castle aesthetic is cool, but I think they really could have made it a lot cooler than it actually was. Which, you know, I find that that's the case with a lot of raids, like Ny'alotha. I didn't play BFA, but I remember really liking the idea of Ny'alotha because I like, you know, old god aesthetic, whatnot. And then it looked like just a boring temple. Like, you could have done so much cool stuff with that raid, and same with this raid. It's just, like, the zones for the most part in terms of art design, like, Shadowlands art design in terms of the zones is pretty good. I think all the zones look nice, even Bastion and Maldraxxus. They all look cool. Revendreth was probably the one I thought would look the coolest for a while, and was the Covenant I wanted to join, which we'll segue neatly into, thank you, me. The Covenants are, like, whatever. It's basically, yeah, I had to join Deer People because, oh yeah, I could turn into a Ghost Raptor. I had to join Deer People because it was the best for Warlocks. I wanted to join Revendreth, but the Revendreth Warlock, hold on, where do I actually view Soul? Right, yeah. Soul Rot, the Warlock class ability that you get for joining Night Fae, is, like, easily what was, like, definitely the best ability. But the Revendreth equivalent, which is, like, Impending Catastrophe, is the one, I think is one of the only abilities that's so bad, it's actually DPS loss, it's so bad. So it's like, well, I guess I'm not joining Revendreth because, it's just that awful for Warlocks. So I joined Night Fae because they had the best ability. I looked some stuff up beforehand because I was playing on raiding. They had the best, you know, conduits, which conduits are just like a system that no one cares about. They're just there. It's just a system to be a system. It's not like bad, but it's just like it's there. Nobody actively likes conduits. I guess I might as well pull them up just on the off chance someone's watching who hasn't seen them. But yeah, this is basically it. Conduits, woohoo! They're so excited. Why do I have it like in? I guess I was playing Destruction last, or trying it out. I don't know. Yeah, I basically stopped playing Affliction once. Stopped playing Destruction once I switched to Affliction. So yeah, I had to join the Night Fae. I could not. The actual like Covenant storyline. I gotta be honest with you. Just like the Shadowlands storyline, I normally like stories in games if they're well done. If they're well done. But let me tell you, I could not care less about the Covenant storyline. like the Winter Queen. I don't care about the Winter Queen. It's like you're trying to make me care about these deer people, but it's just like there's no motivation or driving force to make me want to care. I mean, do these look like the kind of people you want to care about? Blodwyn? What the heck kind of name is Blodwyn? What's your Curdwyn? You're not winning, you're playing Shadowlands. Do all of you have Win at the end of your names? Yadlar? Lady Moon? Lady Mun? Anyone else? Elwyn! There really is... There's so many wins. Why do you all have Win at the end of your names? Is that how people decide if you go to the... Here in the afterlife? If you're like, well, you win at the end of your... Okay, this is all falling apart. Look, all I'm saying is when you have people named Blodwyn, it's not exactly... It's hard to care about you. And plus you have this guy. Bibbo Wagons. Alright, that's pretty good. Now this guy, he knows what's up. Anyways, let's fly somewhere else while I continue spouting nonsense to the ears of anyone who might care, which is very little. Let's go to Revendreth over here. Let's see. What is there anything else real big? Okay. Other main endgame stuff. Just the whole endgame loop in general. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the main problem I have with Shadowlands, and the main reason why I'm just done with the game, and I don't think it's a problem patches are going to fix. The endgame loop, Mythic Pluses, I mean, okay, really quick, Mythic Pluses, I did like Mythic Pluses for a while. I never got to do them before. I was like, ooh, really, like scaling dungeon difficulty? That sounds cool. And I did like it for a bit. It's just the dungeons got really old. And there's the fact that the loot system was awful. Everyone knows that Mythic Plus looting and PvE looting in general was just really bad. Really bad. Definitely wasn't that bad back in the day, but again, my memory's fuzzy. But definitely wasn't that bad. I do know, like in this current most recent patch, they introduced like a Valor currency. I don't have any because I haven't done any since then. Which you can use to like upgrade gear or something. Which is fine. It's it's something. I don't know how good it is because it's not enough to make me come back, but I guess it's something. But that aside, Mythic Pluses were fine, I guess. But in terms of the actual end game stuff, we have world quests, we have getting anima, we have the Maw, and we have Torghast. And let me tell you, world quests. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been a thing in the pretty much. They've technically been a thing since Wrath. And Wrath, it was just like dailies to get gold, though. But World Quest, their definition of busy work. The only reason you're going to play... the only reason you're going to do World Quests is because you have nothing else to do, or you need anima or something, or one of them is a particularly good reward. Like, look, we have gold, we have anima, and we have reputation. It's... And they're all just busy work. There's, again, you can kill like 20 enemies at once. Everything dies so quick. It's just, everyone knows world quests, but everyone knows world quests are just busy work. Even back in the day, dailies were just dailies. So, it's an MMO. There's always going to be grinding. But the Maw, I'm not sure how to phrase this eloquently, but I think the Maw is one of the, I hate the Maw. I literally went there, 3 times and lost the motivation to ever want to go there again. It was negative fun. World quests were neutral. They weren't fun, but it's okay, I can target them. I don't know what it is about the Maw. Maybe it's because you can't mount in it. That's probably part of it. I mean, I know you can get a mount, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I hate the Maw so much. It is just dull as heck. It's just repetitive. It's... I'm not really phrasing this very well. All you need to know is I don't think the Maw is good, and I don't think anyone likes the Maw, so I don't think I need to explain myself. Now, Torghast was actually, believe it or not, one of the main selling points. Shut up, Fordy, no one asked you. Well, actually, technically, I literally just did. But Torghast, I don't think anyone... No, that was the Maw. I don't think anyone likes the Maw. Torghast might be crazy. Might be crazy to hear what I'm about to say. I think Torghast was one of the main selling points for me. Torghast was one of the main selling points for me to play Shadowlands. You might think that's insane. Bear in mind, I didn't play that beta and watch much footage. Should have, but I watched enough to be like, oh, this seems cool. I think a lot of people did think that. Torghast, You know, if more work was done into it, if it was, you know, a higher priority to make more fun, I don't know, it could have been, like, enough to keep some people playing. Torghast had so much potential, and the first few runs, I did actually like it quite a bit. Part of it was because it wasn't nerfed into the ground yet, and actually had challenge, which means you actually had to, you know, think carefully and use strategy and stuff. And I actually really liked my first couple runs because of that. There was a couple pulls where I had to think really carefully how to get through them in Torghast. But they nerfed into the ground after that, so it became pretty darn easy, pretty much all the time.
Why would anyone walk anywhere?
And along with that, there just wasn't enough variety in it to keep going. Every run starts to feel the same. There's not nearly enough variety in terms of abilities. Again, it becomes pretty easy, and then there's the fact that there's just no reason to do it. Yeah, you can do the twisting quarters 8 times to get the mounts. It's like, yeah, okay, if I did like Torghast, then woo, there's the light at the end of the tunnel to get a mount for the Maw that you have to grind mindlessly to get, instead of just using your own mount because lore reasons, I don't know. And yeah, the it just had so much potential. If you made, like, the fact that it's like a roguelike dungeon that changes every time, scales with how many plays you have. Just the concept of Torghast is so good, but it just lets down on so many levels. You know, you kind of just mindlessly destroy enemies, bosses. You're kind of just like, that's the thing. The pretty much all the mechanics in Torghast, it's like you either avoid a thing that's clearly indicated, or you interrupt someone from casting something. That's it. There's nothing else. Which, yeah, that's a lot of mechanics in WoW, to be fair. But in Torghast, like, that's literally it. There's nothing, like, it feels like there's nothing super creative in terms of the bosses and stuff, and the abilities. Like, sure, you have all these different classes to make abilities for, but it could have been so much more. So, when one of the Torghast was meh, the Maw I hate, World Quests are just filler. And what else is there? You have Mythic Pluses, which I just did all the dungeons so many times at this point, it feels like. I didn't even get to, like, Mythic 15s. I got up to, like, Mythic, plus 10s, I think. Like, I think Mythic plus 12 or 11 was my highest. And I just kind of got bored of those, too. The raid, I was just like, I'm really kind of just sick of the raid. I did pretty well during some of the raids. Like, there's a couple times I got top DPS, but it was mostly on, like, the, you know, Sludge Fist and some of the more single target fights. So I did okay, but, you know, it just didn't keep my attention. I think the guild itself was fine for the most part, but I just lost interest. So I don't really know where I'm going from this point. I could talk about PvP. I did a little bit of PvP. PvP's just never been my thing in WoW, so I can't really comment too much on that. Part of it's just I'm not really good at it, and I've also just haven't done it enough. And yeah, I think the main problem with Shadowlands as a whole is it's just too repetitive and doesn't have enough. But I also don't think any amount of patches can fix the problems I have with it. The anima in general is just a system that's, like, designed to keep you busy. Same with world quests. I'm honestly kind of the same with the weekly vault. The whole, like, do X amount of stuff in a week and then you'll maybe get a good piece of loot. Yay, RNG, I guess. I do think part of it is just the fact that don't have the time to invest in all this busy work that a lot of MMOs tend to have, but Shadowlands especially has. You know, if I were to compare it directly to the old days, quote-unquote, vanilla through Wrath, you know, I do think the whole feeling of the old days of WoW just were nicer. I think part of a lot of that is nostalgia, to be fair, but I think a little bit about its gameplay as well. But comparing the game to back then, the only thing I can genuinely say I think I like more is the feeling, is like the class rotation. Just the fact that it's more complicated than back then, you know. And Wrath wasn't even complicated. Was like, you had like 4 abilities, but from what I understand, in like vanilla and BC, it was like 1 or 2, like basically like the same ability over and over. I watched like a video that said like Warlock and BC just basically casting Shovel over and over, which I do plan to play Classic Burning Crusade. Not sure if I'm going to play Warlock, though. Also, I don't know I don't know. I might. I mean, I did play Classic WoW, but I never got to 60s the thing, so I don't know if I want to use level boost or not, but that's besides the point. Either way, I do hope to play Burning Crusade WoW, because, you know, everyone has a fond time for Burning Crusade WoW, myself included. I did play during BC, I just didn't get to do endgame stuff. But anyways, TLDW, even though, you know, it's already 20 minutes in the video, so it doesn't matter to say that. I don't think Shadowlands is very good. I can't bring myself to keep playing it. It just feels like a chore at this point. Oh yeah, Oribos is also the most generic major city ever. I guess it's convenient technically, but like, it feels so soulless. And you know what? There you go. I think that's the problem with a lot of Shadowlands in there. It just feels soulless and hollow. It doesn't. I can't put my finger on it. Cause like, from what I understand, a lot of people like Legion, but I feel like a lot of people have a similar feeling with Shadowlands, where it's just like, it just doesn't feel like it has, I don't know, care? I mean, the art direction's good, but, like, I can't say much else. I can't really say anything else positive about it. It's just, it doesn't feel right. It's way too repetitive. And even if they, like, there's way too many changes that would need to be made for me to like it, I think. It's too casual, for one. Even if they introduce like 4 new dungeons next patch, which, let's be honest, they're not going to do. I can't see myself coming back. So this is, once my subscription ends, I don't plan to return to Shadowlands. There's a very, very small chance I'll maybe come back for like the next raid, but I don't know. I find that unlikely unless I hear it's, unless people like say it's like one of the best raids ever, which I can't say I'm very optimistic at this point. I'm not exactly helpful. So that was basically just me rambling on Shadowlands. I'm just trying to think if there's anything super like major. The heck are you? You're a ghost moose? Spirit of Ekro. There's a ghost moose mount now. Is that new? Maybe. I don't know if it's new or not. But I think I pretty much went through everything. Probably nothing too big to go over. As you can see, of course, I did do Voidheart Transmog. And that will be that. People have tree mounts because they did a promotion, I guess. I am genuinely curious if you're watching this and you're still playing Shadowlands. Did you play it briefly? Are you still playing it? Did you play for, you know, 2 months and quit like me? Because I literally played, it was end of November when Shadowlands launched. I played it like, I started Shadowlands like a week after it came out. And I stopped like early February, which was basically, you know, I'm only you know, logged in right now to basically you know, do this. And then I'm not planning to log back in, likely. Not on this character anyway. I just don't have any motivation to. But yeah, are you still playing? Did you stop? Are you just wanting me to be quiet right now? Do you enjoy breakfast? Did you like the dungeons, the raid? What do you think they could do to fix it? All that fun stuff. If you would like to enlighten me, please do. Otherwise, you could not do that. And, you know, again, go eat some... Let's go with delicious seafood dinner. Who knows? That guy's a Blue Prodric as well. Very good. And now he's Hearthstoning or something. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, you can like or subscribe or whatever. You can also not. Have a fantastic day. Yeah.